Let's start, and we'll start in the same way as last time. So we'll start lying on our backs, and you can have a blanket at the end of the mat there. And placing the head on the blanket, placing the feet on the floor, and the back of the head is resting on the blanket, and then stretch out your left leg, and then we start in actually stretch out both legs to start off with, and it's sort of nice if the heels are on the um, mat rather than not on the mat, so make sure that the blanket is far enough back. And then let's start very similar to last time with this rocking movement. So you're pointing and flexing your feet. You're just moving the feet and you're rocking on your heels. And then you're rocking the rest of the body as well. And you're shifting forwards and backwards. And you keep rocking. You keep shifting. And let everything be loose as possible. So as if you could just vibrate all the tissues. And then relax, let go. And then do the same thing again and have one foot flat on the floor. So can you place one foot on the floor close to the other knee and then do the rocking again, shifting forwards and backwards. And you can press into the foot that is on the floor a little bit if that's helpful. And notice how that is a little bit different when one foot is on the floor. And then come to stillness and stretch out the bent knee and bend the other leg. And then again, pointing and flexing the straight-legged foot so that you're moving into rocking. So for some of you, this may be easier than doing it the way we did it last time with the feet on the floor, with both feet on the floor at the same time. For some people, it's maybe harder. It can sometimes be a little bit confusing until we get into the rhythm of it. And then relax, release. Now, the foot that is flat on the floor, keep that on the floor. Take your arms a little further away from the body. Press into the foot on the floor and lift that hip off the ground. So you're tilting the pelvis to the side. Breathe in, and then with the exhale, you can release the hip back down. So with the inhale, you press into the foot, you lift the hip, you tilt, and with the exhale, come back down. And do this a few more times, and each time you do it, maybe the hip lifts a little higher, but the other hip stays on the ground. And moving with the breath, maybe twice more, pressing into the foot firmly, turning around a little bit more. And then on the last one, that could be the maximum expansion. It's almost a little back bend here. And then releasing down. And then swapping sides, pressing the foot into the floor. The inhale lifts the hip, just one, on that side where the foot is on the floor, and the exhale, release. Inhale, press down, again, lifting the hip, tipping the pelvis. Exhale, releasing. And then continue a few more times, and each time the hip lifts, maybe find a little bit more height. so that you're moving towards a slight back bend, just a mild back bend. And then the last one, you come a little higher than before, you're arching the spine a little more, and then come back to center. Now place both feet on the floor, so coming into a constructive rest position. And then take your elbows close to the body and lift the forearms up. You have sort of robot arms, cactus arms. Fingertips point up towards the ceiling. Now, without much pressure anywhere, take an inhale to lift your shoulders away from the floor, just the shoulders. That will probably increase the pressure into the back of the head, and then exhale, release the shoulders down. Inhale, lift the shoulders up. So you're sort of rounding the shoulders in a little bit. You keep the shoulder blades as much as possible on the floor. Exhale, release down. So with the inhale, you lift the shoulders. And with the exhale, you release the shoulders down. Breathing into lift. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Just the shoulders move, nothing else. So inhale, lifting the shoulders. And exhale, releasing down. And do it once more. Releasing down with the exhale. That's it. And then remember what we did last time with the brick? We turned our head side to side, up and down, and we took a rotational movement as well as a side stretch movement. So we'll do all of this now in the position that you're in, sliding the head on the floor. So don't worry about it too much. You may not be able to see what I'm doing, but I will do it with you. So if in any doubt, you can always come closer, but just think of it as the three planes of movement of the head, up and down, rotating so the face turns, and tilting so that it's a side bend. We start with the up and down. So take an inhale and lift your chin up and just let the back of the head slide on the blanket and take your gaze up and slightly behind. And then exhale, take the chin toward the chest, let the back of the head slide up so the neck comes really long. And inhaling, lifting the chin so the head stays on the floor. You're just sliding on the blanket, messing up your hair. Exhale, chin toward the chest. Breathing in one more time and follow with your gaze. Look up behind you. And exhale, chin in and look down towards your thighs. And then bring the head to neutral. Relax. Check whether you're using your shoulders to sort of hold on. See if you can keep the shoulders relaxed. Now we're going to go in a rotational movement, side to side. So from the center, breathe in. And then exhale, rotate the face over to the right. So the right ear comes towards the floor. Inhale, turn the head back to center. And check it's a rotation around the axis of the spine and it's not a tilt. Exhale, turn the face to the left, left ear towards floor. Inhale, come to center. Let's do it one more time. Exhale, rotating around the cervical spine to the right. Inhale to center. And exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Now, lateral stretch, lateral flexion. Exhale, slide the head over to the right so the whole back of the head moves and the face keeps staying turned upward toward the ceiling. Inhale, bring the head to center. And then slide the head to the left. The face stays up toward the ceiling, but the left ear comes closer to the shoulder. Inhale back to center. One more time. Lateral movement, lateral flexion over to the right. Inhale to center. So you're sort of sliding on one point, more or less, on the back of the head. Exhale, head over to the left. And you can notice which movement feels maybe all right, which movement feels stronger. Coming back to center and relax for a moment. And we stay with those planes of movement and we take them in different ways. So we'll start with what is a little bit like a neck sit-up. So take an inhale and then exhale, lift the head, bring the chin toward the chest. Shoulders can stay heavy, they might lift just a little bit. Inhale, release the back of the head back to the blanket. Exhale, chin to chest, lifting the heavy head off the floor. Inhale to center, come back down, and then exhale, lift back up again. Inhale, release back down, and then relax for a moment. Now breathe in, and when you exhale, lift the chin, then almost bring the head back to the floor, but don't touch the floor. So you're hovering lower now, much lower, and hold here. And notice where you can feel this in the neck. You may feel quite a lot of activity going on in the muscles in the throat. The back, the neck muscles may be less involved, and this is definitely harder than lifting the head higher. And then pretty soon, release the head down, which is somewhat of a relief, at least to me. Pause for a moment. Then, in a moment, we're going to lift the head and we're going to go into rotation. So take an inhale. Exhale, lift the head just slightly off the floor. And then turn the face toward the right. And just breathe, come back to center. No need to synchronize this with the breath necessarily. Turn the head over to the left so you're looking to the left. Come back to center, and one more time, go to the right so you're looking to the right and the head is hovering the whole time. Coming to center and then turning the head to the left and the head is still hovering. Coming to center and exhale, release the head down, pause and relax. And you may notice that this is actually pretty hard work, which is also one of the reasons why we do a bit every time rather than focusing, let's say, 1 week on the neck and then 1 week on the shoulders. We actually bring in work for all parts of the body, the neck, the shoulders, the back, in all weeks. Now we're going to take the last action here, which is the tilting, the lateral flexion, the side stretch. Take an inhale and lift the head off the floor. And then bring the right ear toward the right shoulder. Keep the face facing straight up to the ceiling. Inhale, come back. And then exhale, left ear, left shoulder. Inhale, lift back up. Right ear, right shoulder. And come back to center. And one more round. Left ear, left shoulder. This is already the second side, I think. So coming back to center. And then release the head down. And rest and relax. Now, we will roll to the side. So roll to that side where it's easier for you to see me. And if you have a brick handy or a thick book, you can stick it between your thighs, and you could elevate your blanket slightly, so fold it once more, but you don't want a super high height. And then the shoulder comes down just behind the blanket. The head is on the blanket, and it's okay if the head tips down a little bit. That's actually what we want. And then you can place your palms on top of each other. So you're lying on your side with your knees bent, hugging the knees toward the belly a little bit, and you can have a prop between your legs, between your thighs, the palms on top of each other. And then take an inhale and lift the head off the floor so the ear comes toward the shoulder, and then exhale, release. And inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Inhale, lift. So this is the lateral flexion part, the side stretching part. Exhale, release. And then relax just for a moment. Now we're going to move into rotation. So lift the head off the floor, rotate the face up toward the ceiling, and then turn the face forward and turn the face down to the floor, and let your eyes follow, maybe even peeking back a little bit. And then turn the face forward and then turn the face up. Turn the face forward, and then turn the face down and peek back behind you slightly. And then turning the face forward again, releasing the head down, relaxing, softening. Then we take the last movement, which is essentially the chin moving up and down. So lift the head off the floor and then lift the chin up so that you're looking for the space above the blanket and slightly behind you. And then exhale, take the chin down toward the chest and you're looking down at your legs. Inhale, lifting. So basically you're tipping the head with the ear parallel to the floor the whole time. Lifting up and then coming down. And let's do it once more. Inhale, lifting the head, follow with the gaze, and exhale, taking the chin toward the chest, and then coming to center and releasing the head down. Now we're going to shift away from neck activity and towards a mobilizing of the spine and the shoulder. So from your position, take your top hand, touch your fingertips or the fingernails to the floor, slide the arm up and overhead, then keep sliding. Fingernails come to the floor and slide all the way out to the side if you're lucky enough to have space. And then the arm can come down by your side, and then you take your return journey. And if there's stuff in the way, just lift the arm on top of that stuff. Once the arm is overhead, the palm turns so it faces down. And then reach your fingertips further forward so that the bottom hand touches the forearm. And then bring the palms together. Slide your fingers up above the blanket. Open up the chest so it's a twist and keep going. Whatever you have space for, I need to negotiate with the Buddha's head, which is okay. And then lifting the arm back up all the way overhead. Fingernails can remain on the floor if there's space for it. And once the palms come close to each other, then slide the top fingers further forward, reaching through the shoulder. Then bring the palms together and we take one more. Sliding the fingers up on the ground, all around to the side. And then sliding back, up and overhead. And turning the torso. Placing the palms on top and then sliding the top palm further forward. And then bringing the palms together. Roll onto your back and then swap sides. So rotate yourself around. We do all of this on the other side. So the shoulder is behind the blanket, the head on the blanket. It can hang a little bit. Place your palms on top of each other. And then take an inhale and lift the head off the floor and bring it toward the top shoulder. And exhale, release the head back down. So side bending, inhale, lift the head, take the ear toward the shoulder, and exhale, release the head down. And last time, inhale, lift the head and get the top ear all the way toward the top shoulder. Keep the face facing forward, and exhale, release down. Rest, pause for a moment. And we're going to go into a rotational movement. Lift up the head, then keep the neck vertebra aligned with the vertebra of the upper back. Turn the head, turn the face up toward the ceiling now. Maybe even peeking behind you slightly with the eyes. And then turn the face forward and then down to the blanket and see if you can look to the back of the blanket, so behind you again slightly. And then turning the face forward and keep breathing, turning the face up, maybe looking slightly behind you or up to the ceiling, and then exhale, turning the face forward and then down and peeking back, down and behind you. And then inhale, bringing the face forward again. And exhale, release the ear to the floor. Relax, soften. And then we take the last movement, which is the up and down of the chin. So lift the head, cervical spine in line with the thoracic, and then lift the chin up so that you can follow with the gaze and you're peeking up. And then take the chin down and towards the chest and stay on that plane, avoiding side bending and rotation now. Inhale, lifting the chin up and exhaling down, and the head is floating just above the ground the whole time. Inhale, last time, lifting the chin up and exhale, chin toward chest. And then coming to a neutral position, release the ear toward the ground. Rest for a moment. And you can hug the knees a little bit closer to you. If they're quite far away from you, get them a little closer to the belly. And then with the top hand, touch the fingertips or the fingernails to the floor and start sliding. Take the fingers up and overhead and continue all the way back behind you. Roll onto your back into a twist. Taking the arm down by the side of the hip and then sliding back up again, reversing the action all the way overhead, and the palm turns. And then as your palms touch, reach the top palm further away from you to give the shoulder a little stretch and tug. And then come back and start sliding, opening up, gliding the fingers overhead, reaching all the way behind you eventually, and then sliding back up to the side first, then overhead, and then palms touching, and reach the top palm a little bit further forward. And then do this one more time, sweeping the arm all the way up and overhead. And then take it all the way back again. And then roll onto your back. And from here, roll to one side, come up to sit, or rock up to sit, and sit in any comfortable position, whether it's kneeling or cross-legged, and have your hips higher than your knees. So by all means, sit on a rolled blanket, for example, which is what I'm doing. And as you're there, reach the right arm up and the left arm down. Take an inhale. And then exhale, bend your elbows and bring the hands behind you. And keep the hands away from the body. Inhale, straighten the arms. And exhale, bend the elbows, keep the arms away from the body and keep the lower ribs in. Inhale, circle around. And exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, circle around. And exhale, bend the elbows. And then keep the top elbow where it is, and with the other hand, reach for the elbow and hug the elbow in. Now, if your shoulders are hypermobile, you want to take these actions very carefully, and you want to keep adding some resistance. So you could keep pressing the left elbow out and into the hand as you pull the top hand into the elbow. Maybe the left fingertips touch the top of the shoulder, the top of the left shoulder, maybe even the top of the shoulder blade, and keep your lower ribs in, keep your sitting bones heavy. And then inhale, release. Now circle that left arm all the way down and behind you and touch the hand onto the lower back. Maybe slide the hand up higher between the shoulder blades, the palm facing out. Take the other hand to the outside of the head on the opposite side towards the top of the ear, and then gently take the head towards the opposite shoulder. So right ear to right shoulder, a lateral stretch. Now you're not pulling with the hand, you're just resting it there. There is no pressure, there doesn't need to be counter pressure. Notice how it feels. And then take an inhale, lifting the head back up, circling the left arm all the way around. The right hand comes towards the top of the right shoulder, so the right elbow is up, and you're reaching across with the other hand. And everyone can actually do this. It's a useful action to do. You press the arm out, and so the elbow presses into the hand that's on the right side, and on the left side, you pull the elbow in slightly. Check that your neck is not taking pressure, that your neck is not suffering there. Keep hugging in. And then the left arm can sort of stay hovering there, but the right arm comes out to the side and spirals down. And then the back of the hand comes to the lower back, or maybe even higher toward the space between the shoulder blades. And you can rest the left hand just on top of the right ear. And then without pressure, just let the left ear come to the left shoulder. Notice how it feels. And then lift back up and unravel your arms. And you want to have a brick or a stack of books nearby. Come to the hands and the knees. And from here, let's come into a plank position. So we're moving into stabilizing and strengthening the shoulder. If your energy level is just not quite there for plank today, that's fine. Place your knees on the floor. And then see if you can take an inhale and lift one hand up toward the shoulder, and then exhale, release. Inhale, lift the other hand up to the shoulder. Exhale, release. Inhale, fingertips to shoulder. Exhale, release. If this causes problems for the wrists, definitely keep your knees down, other fingertips to shoulder. Exhale, release. Now keep the palm facing down. Inhale, lift the elbow up by your side and lift it as high as is comfortable. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift the other elbow up and maybe get it a little higher. Exhale, release. Inhale, first side, elbow up, palm stays down. Exhale, release. Inhale, elbow up, palm stays down. Exhale, release. Bring your knees to the floor. You can sit back on your heels for a moment. And then we're going to set up in this chaturanga position that we did last time with the, yeah, yes, that's also that's also fine. You can work with both, I would say. You can work with on the knees, slowing down the movement, and you can then also work with a quicker movement with the knees lifted, and gradually, just over time, make that period where you lift the hand a little bit longer, just over time. So this is, general strength building. So you could do it, one time with the knees down, have a break, and then do it faster with the knees lifted and move from there. Does that make sense? Great, lovely. So this sort of hand position, which can be pretty tricky to get. So the hands are really wide, the fingers are facing in. And remember, this really helps to support the action of the whole shoulder girdle and keeps the shoulder blades from winging. So I like to set myself up in a sort of all fours position because otherwise I really can't get my hands in place very well. Then from there, I can walk back and the knees stay on the ground. And if you wish, you can lift your shins, you can cross the shins, or you can keep the toes tucked under on the floor if that feels okay for your knees. Of course, you can have a blanket underneath the knees. Now, bring the shoulders forward, inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows out to the sides, come down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come down. Two more. Exhaling to come down. Again, this may well have to be a faster movement, but over time you can then start to slow it down a little bit. Actually, let's take one more. I mean, 5 is better than 4, I feel. Press up. Shift your sitting bones back so that you can then swivel the wrists back and walk the hands in. Now, take your brick or whatever you're using as that prop, and the brick is pretty close to the knees. You might have to adjust that in a moment. You want the thighs to land on the brick. Walk your hands forward, and then you're already going to be able to see, thighs coming close to the brick. Is that the sort of right place? You don't want the brick to land underneath the pubic bone, so it's the thighs. Come up to plank, take an inhale. With the exhale, bend the elbows, chaturanga, thighs on brick. Now, this may help you to hold here just a little longer and come out when you need to come out. But if you're okay, use this time with the support to adjust your chaturanga. So roll the shoulders back, spread the shoulder blades, not massively, but keep them neutral rather than retracted, rather than shrugging in towards the spine. And then if it feels okay for you, lift the navel and lift the chest. So you're in a little upward dog, modified position. Press down into the hands, downward dog. Now again, if you have wrist issues and this is aggravating the wrists, then back off. You could do a little bit of work on your fists, but staying very briefly in chaturanga on the fists. Otherwise, we take this again, come forward plank. Exhale, breastbone forward, shoulders back. You could come down very slowly. You could even lift your feet off the floor if you enjoy that sort of thing, if that happens automatically. Keep pressing the hands down and then lifting the chest, rolling the shoulders back, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And then we do it one more time. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, lower down, pause there. Some of you are making it hard for yourself by not having quite high enough props, but that's just what it is. Pause. Keep your shoulders in line with your elbows, particularly if you have high enough props. Okay, let's take the upward dog shape, which seems much more appealing, and then downward facing dog. Okay. I would suggest you revisit that because it's a really good one. Bring your knees to the floor for a moment. It's a really good one to build the alignment in chaturanga and to become much clearer on it. So, again, it may not feel particularly supportive straight away, but over time, that thigh support will really give you the ability to check out what's happening in the shoulders. And the shoulders are the most mobile joints in the body. So, there's a lot we can do there, and there's a lot we must do to keep the shoulders stable. Right. Come to downward dog. So we're looking for an action that is this sort of position with the shoulders, yeah, rather than this. So it's a broad open, chest stays open, you're not collapsing, chest stays open, and the shoulder blades are not retracting. I hope you can see this. Can you see this? Could you see that? Good. So you want the shoulder blades to stay pretty neutral like this, which is hard. So you don't want to be here and you don't want to be here. Yeah? And that's what we're interested in. So remember what I said last time. Often what happens is we get this action a little bit too much because of all our push actions in yoga. So we want this sort of rotation. Great. Downward facing dog. So today is the most sort of yoga pose shaped class out of all of the 4 sessions. Step the right foot forward inside the right hand. We're going to come up into warrior 1. So bring the sole of the back foot down, not too wide a stance. Bring the right hip back Then lift the chest forward, bring the hands to the hips. Just check that you're stable here. If you have any knee issues, you can always keep the back heel lifted, of course. And then reach the right arm up, bend the elbow, and place the fingertips on the top of the shoulder or the top of the shoulder blade. And then just like we did seated, reach across with the other arm. And then push the elbow out, pull in with the fingers. Keep the lower ribs in. Just exactly the same actions as we did seated. So we're just using this as an opportunity to repeat the same thing once more. Then circle the right arm down behind you, taking it to the lower back or higher up. The other hand comes just to the top of the ear. Tip your left ear toward the left shoulder. Relax both shoulders. So we've done a lot of shoulder stabilizing, and now this is part of the release work again. Coming back to center. Reach the left arm up, interlace your hands behind you. Now keep the wrists separated and the elbows bent. So you're not clasping or pressing your palms together. You actually keep the wrists wide and you're not straightening the arms, but you keep the elbows bent, even if the elbows are not hypermobile like mine. Good. Then inhale, free the arms up. And exhale, take the hands behind the head, hug the elbows in. Now lift out of the hips, lengthen the spine, and find some more openness in the thoracic spine. So from the space behind the bottom tip of the breastbone upwards towards the base of the neck. So this part lifts up while the lower back stays long. Take an inhale, come up. And exhale, place your hands on the floor. Inhale, come to plank. Imagine the brick is still there to receive your thighs. Exhale, slow motion chaturanga. Come all the way to the floor. And then take your right hand forward. Take your left hand back and hover the hand above your lower back with the palm facing up. And then lift the other arm, the front hand, bring it above your head. Keep the neck long and free. Now inhale, circle the arms around. Exhale, hand above head, hand above lower back. Back palm is up, front palm is down. Inhale, circling. Exhale, circling back. Inhale, circling forward, minding the furniture. And exhale, circling. Inhaling, circling, and this is the last round. And exhaling. And then bring the hands underneath the shoulders, press down. Take it back into downward facing dog. And then step the left foot forward inside the left hand. Step the back foot a little bit closer and ground the sole of the back foot down. Now the left hip moves back as we come up into warrior one. Again, adjusting if that's useful. Back heel can be lifted. Now lift the left arm up and touch the fingertips to the top of the shoulder or the top of the shoulder blade. And then press the elbow out and pull the elbow in with the other hand at the same time. Breathing, keep the lower ribs in. Keep pressing into the outer edge of the back foot. Great. Then circle the left arm out and all the way down, hand to the lower back, or slip that hand higher. Take the other hand just above the ear, right ear to right shoulder. And no pressure on the head, just resting the hand there, relaxing the hand there. Inhale, come up. And exhale, interlace the fingers, go for the unusual interlace. Wrists separated, elbows soft, lift the arms up. So of course with the elbows bent, there's not going to be an awful lot of lift. but it's actually a stronger action, a stronger opening action for the shoulders. And then sweep the arms up, take the hands behind the head, go for the unusual interlace again, and lift out of the hips, lengthen the spine, trust the weight of the head into the hands. Take an inhale to come up. Exhale, release your fingers down. This time, step the back foot forward, have your feet at least hip distance, if not slightly wider, and then hang forward. Soften your knees a little bit, interlace your hands behind your head again, and just use a little bit of traction. So imagine you can pull the head down toward the ground with your forearms, with maybe the back of the thumbs, just gently lengthening the neck. And then bend your knees more, round the spine, roll up. If that doesn't feel good on your back, then come up with a straight spine. Eventually unraveling to stand, straighten the legs. Keep going, lift the elbows up. Strong straight legs, hips forward just a touch. And then let the head move back. Open the throat, supporting the neck. And with that support, you could even take the gaze up. And then inhale, come back, lifting the head. Exhale, release your arms down by your side. And then we're going to take warrior two and step back with your right leg. I'm going to turn my back to you, but there is a reason to this, because you'll be able to see better the sort of interesting action we're taking. So the left arm is forward and the back hand can rest on your hip, and you can take the head to face the side and then tip the right ear to the right shoulder. Now, the front palm, turn it away from you, press the palm away from you so the thumb is down and you're pressing out. Maybe the thumb is a little further forward, a little bit further away from you than the little finger. And then you're reaching. And keep your lower ribs in. Thumb is down. Yes. And then come back to center. And you can take the hands to the hips and step the back foot forward. And then step the other foot back. So left foot comes back. Warrior two stands so the front heel is aligned with the back instep. Back hand on the hip, front arm forward. Turn the head to the side. Tip the ear, back ear toward the back shoulder. Then turn the palm away from you. Thumb is down. Press the palm back behind you. So actively reaching through the palm, maybe spinning the thumb even further away than the little finger. And then coming up, inhale. And this time, exhale, place your hands down, lift the back heel, and come into downward facing dog. And then take an inhale and come forward and into a plank position. And with the exhale, in slow motion, come all the way down to the floor. And take your arms forward with the palms facing each other. Elongate your legs back. Now lift everything off the floor, arms and legs. And then lift the left leg and the right arm and then swap sides and go pretty swiftly. It's like you're swimming. And continue. So we're going back to building strength in the neck here. And keep going. As if you were still enjoying it, maybe speed it up a little bit. This looks beautiful, guys. Lovely. Great. And then relax. Good. Lovely. Really well done. Now, place the hands underneath the shoulders so that you can press up to a seated position. And you'll need your stack of books approximately this 10 centimeter height. And place that at the front. and this will receive your shoulder. So for some people, it's plenty to have a lower height, but for me, this height works really well. But you may want less height than that. So come to lie on your front, and the right hand, in my case, the right hand is forward, the brick is on the left side, and then slip the left hand onto your lower back, and the shoulder comes onto the brick. And if it feels okay, you can slip the hand a little bit higher towards the space between the shoulder blades, but not so important. And then bring the head down, and you can either make a fist with the right hand to release the forehead onto that, or you can take the hand flat if that feels okay. You could play around. If you're using books, removing one book. If you're using bricks, change the height of the setting. Notice how it feels. But go for the highest setting that still feels sort of, okay. That still feels bearable. And often the effect only kicks in after a little while. So often when we're in this Gomukhasana, in this cow face arm position, the bottom arm, the shoulder of that arm often rotates inward. So there is a compression at the front of the shoulder. So with this situation here with a brick in place, there is no way we can get that inward rotation of the shoulder. So the shoulder has to stay in the right place. And then after a while, that can become, reasonably strong. And if you feel that now's a good time to come out of this, then that's a good idea. And you could just take a child's pose or sit back on your heels. And otherwise, we'll be here for maybe another 5 breaths or so, let's say another 30 seconds. And then lift the head first and slip the hand behind you down a little bit, and then free that arm, press into the other hand, and lift off enough, lift up enough so that you can swap the brick to the other side. And then in my case, left hand is flat in front, and the shoulder comes onto the brick, and the right hand slips up to the lower back or to the space between the shoulder blades. And again, it could be useful to play with positions in the beginning to check how it feels to maybe lower or maybe take it a little higher. And one side might be really quite different from the other side. So don't expect that the same heights will work for both sides. And then there is a process of settling in, where you're aiming to soften the muscles and let gravity do the work. Now, it may well be a good time to come out right now. Otherwise, again, maybe another 5 breaths or so. And then lifting the head, releasing the back arm, and then eventually take your arms out to the side and bend your elbows. And the forehead could be on the floor initially, but you can also check you want your elbows to be a little bit in front of your shoulders. Forearms are on the floor, palms are flat, elbows are a little bit in front of the shoulders. And then keep the right forearm as it is. Place the left hand underneath the left shoulder, and then keep the right shoulder relaxed so the armpit comes towards the floor. Roll onto the outer right leg, and just let the left leg slip behind you so it could hover up in the air. Now, relax as much as possible. If your shoulders are hypermobile, back off and turn the belly down to the floor more so that you're not risking anything here. This is a strong stretch. This is, one of the really strong shoulder stretches. So now think about lifting the right forearm, elbow, hand, the whole thing, off the floor. To be able to do that, you have to roll toward the belly again, but don't go all the way. Just go as far as you need to lift the right forearm off the floor. And this is really hard work. This is good stabilizing work. And then release down, release the forearm down. Once more, relax everything, open it up a little bit more. So rolling back a little bit more, letting the top leg hover. Relaxing, letting the armpit maybe come a little closer to the floor. Then roll toward the belly, just enough to lift the right forearm off the ground. And breathe. And then release. And then take the left elbow out to the side, place the right hand underneath the shoulder. Roll onto the outer left leg, and the top leg could hover, or you could bend the knee, place the foot on the floor, but keep everything low. You could even keep the head on the floor if that's comfortable. Again, backing off if the shoulder is vulnerable, or of course if you're hypermobile. The first round we stay a little bit longer. Can you relax the shoulder? And then roll onto the belly just enough so that you can lift the forearm off the floor. Breathing. I mean, I have to really remind myself to breathe here. And then release the forearm down. And once more, open it up. Roll to the side a little bit more. Both legs can be straight or the top foot just behind. And then again, roll toward the belly just enough to lift the forearm off the floor. Yes, and the hand. Yes, very nice. And breathe. And then release. Good. Lovely. And then place the hands underneath the shoulders, press the hands down, press yourself up to sit. And we'll prepare for our last pose. So you want a blanket, well folded, not too low. So it has a little bit of height. I mean, this is about, I reckon, 2 inches. And then get your beautiful bolsters out. Now, I hope that you're getting to use them because there could be a case where the bolster is too high and then you have to backtrack, I'm afraid. So just before the blanket, there's a brick, and I suggest you start on the medium height, so an according number of books, and this is for the head. This bolster here comes between the shoulder blades. So this is a passive back bend, a passive heart opening shape. And this may well be too strong. I also have a really high bolster, so something flatter certainly works. You could have a rolled blanket if you don't enjoy that sort of stretch much at all. And a rolled blanket doesn't give that much height. So the shoulder blades come over the bolster, and then you just have to adjust The brick comes underneath the head. At this stage, just check out how it feels. You could even keep the hands on the body for a moment. You could turn the brick or remove a book so that the chin is higher than the forehead so that there's a little bit of opening in the throat. If that doesn't feel good, then you wouldn't do this. You can keep your feet on the floor or stretch your legs out. Now, if you have any shoulder hypermobility or other sort of, if the shoulders are starting to feel quite tired, then keep your arms down, keep your hands on the body. And otherwise, release the forearms back, release the arms back, hold on to your elbows. If that's too much, you could hold on to your wrists and let there be just a small amount of support for your forearms. So you might have to roll the blanket up a little bit, bring it a touch higher, and then as much as possible, relax into this. So this can be quite strong, and we'll be here for maybe for another 2 minutes. So if that seems not like a good idea to stay for that long, then you back off. This is a very strong, deep shoulder stretch. Again, just listening to the body. If you are holding on to a wrist or if your forearms are crossed, then change the crossing now. Of course, you're very welcome to come out of this at any stage. So you could simply take your arms down. But otherwise, stay here for maybe just under a minute more. And then slowly release your arms down, whether you take them up and overhead or whether you slide them out to the side, whatever seems more accessible. And you could slide the hands all the way onto the body, so take the arms all the way in the opposite direction, or you keep the arms out wide. And then just stay here for another minute. And if you're ready to come out of the back bending shape, then now's a good time to roll onto the side, roll off your props, and just hug the knees into the chest, maybe rolling onto the right side. And then let's all roll over onto the right side. Rolling off your props, maybe using the right arm underneath the ear to support you, hug the knees in. And then from here, make your way up into a seated position. And you can place some support underneath the sitting bones just for a moment. Place the hands on the center of the chest. You can close your eyes, just check in. How does the body feel? No judgment, no expectation. Breathing in. And with the exhale, let the chin come down toward the chest. And gently open the eyes, release the hands down on your lap. And then lift the chin back up.